A very good Tuesday morning. It is 5 Clubs on Golf Channel, and I am Gary Williams. Great to have you with us. We are presented by Century Insurance, right by you, and also our 3 great partners from the state of North Carolina, Peter Millar, Golf Pride, and Pinehurst Resort, platinum standards in their categories. Nobody does it better than they do. Very exciting Tuesday. I'm very much looking forward to having Johnson Wagner and Brendon DeYoung, 2 huge parts of our roster here at 5 Clubs, join me in studio for the first time in 2025. Jack Nicklaus was born on this day in 1940, and think about it. He's going to join us here today. He's 85 years old. Think about athletic careers. Most of them are like shooting stars. Gale Sayers and Jim Brown and Sandy Koufax and Barry Sanders and Terrell Davis. The outliers are guys like Tom Brady and LeBron James. Well, how about Jack? How about him? 1959, he won the U.S. Amateur. He did it again in 1961. How about in 1960, when he was 20 years of age, he finished second at the U.S. Open. Some would argue the most important U.S. Open ever because it was the confluence of Palmer, Nicklaus, and Hogan. And a 20-year-old Jack Nicklaus played with Ben Hogan in the final round, who at that point was akin to a mythical ghost, and he finished second. And 2 years later, in 1962, his first professional win was the U.S. Open. Where did he win? He won in Arnold Palmer's backyard. Not just his backyard, he went into his kitchen and rattled his pots and pans because he won in a playoff over the king himself. And consider that Arnold Palmer wasn't just a golf star. My God, he was an amalgam of Paul Newman and Steve McQueen and Clint Eastwood. And he won. That was 1962. So from 1962 to 1998, Jack Nicklaus played in every major championship, every single one. So he won the U.S. Open in 1962, and you know what he did? 36 years later in 1998, he finished 6th in the Masters. The depth and breadth of his accomplishments feels like a data breach. It seems unimaginable that he did what he did. 18 major championship victories, 19 seconds, 9 thirds, 56 top 5s, 73 top 10s. Those were just major championships. Yes, he also won 73 times on the PGA Tour. Jack Nicklaus, at 85 years of age today, the indomitable one, Jack William Nicklaus. My lengthy conversation that we did yesterday afternoon on the eve of the Ohio State Buckeyes playing for a national championship is coming up next right here on 5 Clubs. Great to have you with us. Jack Nicklaus is next. Welcome back into 5 Clubs on Golf Channel. This is a treat. It always has been from the first time I had a chance to talk with him until this very moment. His birthday, yes, is tomorrow. We are capturing this on a Monday. That is why Jack Nicklaus is wearing scarlet, because he's got a big one tonight. There he is. Okay, let's talk first about your state of mind. I think you handle these games okay, although before we got started, you said, I didn't handle the Michigan game very well. How do you feel about tonight?
Right. I mean, listen, you got a gray sweater on, and I got a scarlet shirt on. I mean, we're Ohio State guys right here.
How do you feel about tonight?
Well, I'm obviously a big Ohio State fan. That's where I went to school. I like Ryan Day. I love what they do up there. Obviously didn't like the Michigan game, but hey, you don't win every game. And Michigan played a great game against Ohio State, but that's the way it goes. But Ohio State's played very well since then, and it'll be a good game tonight. I'm hoping that it is a good game. I don't want anybody to blow anybody out by a bunch, but I guess I can accept anything that Ohio State wins.
Jack, I should know the answer to this, but you've had so many grandchildren that have all been really. Have you not had any grandchildren? Anybody in your family go to the University of Notre Dame?
No. We went to. I went up and watched Gary play the Senior Open at Notre Dame. And it's the first time I've ever been on campus. What a beautiful campus.
Amazing place.
What a gorgeous place.
It really is. All right, so the big one's tonight, and then another pretty significant one tomorrow, January 21st, 1940. You come into this world. What are the birthday plans? Does Barbara have big plans that maybe you're not even aware of?
No, I'm sure we got the whole family for dinner tomorrow night at the Bears Club, but that's I have no ideas. I don't know what they're doing. If it's just a family party or it's a family dinner or any, I have no idea. It's not my. I don't plan my own birthday party.
Did Barbara ever do anything particularly creative? Is there a birthday that you remember you went, wow, honey, you really nailed that one?
I don't know. I don't think that. I didn't think much about that. I mean, we've done everything. You know, we had when I was 55, we had shirts for the breaking the speed limit. And, you know, I don't. When I turned 40, there was something I can't remember what they did then. Another T-shirt or something, but nothing ridiculous. No.
Okay. I was looking this up last night. I wondered if you ever won a golf tournament on your birthday. You didn't, but you won.
No.
You won the clam bake around your birthday 3 times. You won on January 16th. You won on January 23rd. So you played the second round of the Pebble Beach event. You won that. And then you won it again on January 28th. So you won around your birthday, but never on your birthday.
No, I didn't. And probably the year that I won it, when Friday was my birthday, was probably my most embarrassing moment in golf.
Really?
And, yeah, I was out in the room having a little. We had 15 people maybe down in the room, and we were, you know, just in the afternoon after we played in the morning. And a friend of mine, John Swanson, he got on the phone, and he called me on the phone. And he said, "Hey, Jack, wish you happy birthday." And I said, "Thanks, Swanee." And I said, he said, "Yeah, somebody else here wants to say happy birthday to you." This guy gets on the phone, and there's a lot of noise going on, and he sings happy birthday to me. And I'm not very sharp. So I'm sitting there, and I'm going, I said, "Is this guy ever going to stop?" And he continued the whole thing, and he got done with it, and I sort of, why I was irritated, I don't know. I was semi-irritated. I said, "To whom am I speaking, please?" He says, "Oh, it's Bing Crosby, Jack. Just wanted to wish you happy birthday." I guess my voice was a little hoarse. I'm sitting, I want to crawl underneath the table. I mean, you know, what an embarrassment. That was really nice of him to do that. Here I, you know, I'm just a kid who didn't understand real culture.
You know, one of the things that I've always thought about you is that you've always had so many interests outside of golf. You always had so much balance in your life. You leave a tournament, you go back, you go to 3 games the next day, practices. You love to play tennis, the fishing, everything. Do you think balance, for all the competitiveness and all of your innate ability and skill, which was special, but your balance when you got to golf tournaments, that you had something that allowed you to be in a good headspace? Was that attributable to your success?
Well, I think that the balance you're talking about was my relief. It got me away from golf. It got me away from thinking about it. Yeah, I went to all the football practices that I was home for, and you know, I played quarterback. I threw to all the receivers. I kicked with the kickers. You know, I did all that. Basketball practice, I'd go scrimmage with the kids. They always needed somebody to scrimmage, so I always did all that. Baseball, you know, I used to go pitch batting practice and do all that kind of stuff. And you know, when the kids were on the golf team, I'd just go out and play with the kids with the team when they're playing golf. Or Steve played some tennis too, and so I go play tennis with the kids on the tennis team. And, you know, I enjoyed that. It was fun. It kept me young, and but also what it did is it was I was not a gym rat. I did enjoy going to the gym, and so the physical exercise I got from doing all those things, and I ran, but those things all kept me in shape. And I was really never had an injury the whole time I played, and I had my hip problem, but you know that didn't really get me until near the end of my career. I guess I was 58 years old when I had, or 59 when I had my hip replaced. So, it was, I really thought that the diversity kept my mind fresh, allowed me to do things with Barbara, allowed me to do things with the kids, but also allowed me to, when I go back to play golf, to be ready to play.
Jack, of all the great things in the Jack documentary that Golf Channel did, Izzy D. Herrera did such a wonderful job. And they handed that one-sheeter to all these guys, and they're looking at it, and they're going, okay, there's no way that happened. To the point you just made about good health, you played in every major championship from 1962 to 1998. That will never, ever be done by anybody ever again. It's a combination of good fortune and obviously being so good for so long. I think that's as underrated as anything. Having the good health and the good fortune to be able to play in every single one of them.
Well, I was never really injured. I was very fortunate that I kept myself in shape to be able to do that. I'm blessed, but you and I will never be around long enough to know whether anybody does that or not, Gary.
That's true. One of the things about that balance, Jack, is that, look, there are a lot of players of today, and I think it's great that they seek time with you, they seek counsel with you. You mentioned Bears Club, whether it's there, whether it's when they come to the Florida Swing, obviously coming to Muirfield Village for the Memorial, is Scottie Scheffler. You're watching what he's doing. Do you think, because I think he's a very balanced guy, that we are watching the front end of a historic window of golf from him?
I don't know. I think he started a pretty good one. I don't know how many majors has he won now.
2.
3? 2?
2 Masters.
Well, Scottie is really a good player. He's a nice guy. Seems to be very balanced. He's married, got family. He loves other stuff. He likes to be involved. I like Scottie a lot. I think he's going to have a great. He's had a great past, but he's going to have a great future still in front of him. And probably there's a lot of really, really good young players that are coming along that are, that are going to make his life more difficult, but also they're going to find a lot of young guys that are going to have success that we haven't even heard of yet.
Jack, every generation has different challenges. I think this current generation, it's the incessant noise, the outside noise. Famously, Barbara had to show you in 1986 that someone had written that maybe the window had closed for you. These guys, whether it's social media, the constant 24/7 of content creation, do you think that challenge is as big a challenge as any top players have today in terms of trying to stay away from all the outside noise?
I think that would be a pretty big distraction. If I had, with Barbara, occasionally there would be somebody would write an article that wasn't favorable. I'd never see it. Barbara would take it, throw it in the trash can before I got a chance to see it. So I never knew that stuff. And my office does the same thing. I try to keep life on a positive basis, but the kids today, they're on social media constantly. They can't possibly miss what's going on with them, with their competitors, with other people. I think it's very, very difficult. I think the social media makes the game more difficult for them. I don't think there's any question about it.
You have a relationship with Rory. I think he's in a very interesting space historically. You completed the career Grand Slam when you were 26 years of age in 1966. You went from 4 to 5 majors when you won the Masters in 65, and then you repeated in 66. He's sitting on 4. It's now into that 11th year in the absence of winning, 4 trying to get to 5. What are the challenges psychologically that he has that obviously you never had to deal with?
Well, that is what he has to deal with, exactly what you're talking about. Psychologically, he hasn't won for a while. When he gets himself in a position, i.e. last year at Pinehurst, he had a little short putt at 16 that he wouldn't miss one in 1,000 times, but he did, and then missed another one at 18. But you get yourself where you haven't won for a while, and it's difficult to get out of that. The Masters, I I still firmly believe Roy will win the Masters. He's just too good not to. You know, I love Roy McIlroy. I think he's a great person. He's a great guy. He's as talented a player as there is out there, and he's got a lot more majors in him. You just got to get him out of him, and you know that's the problem. But you know he's good. He's good. He's really good. But he just, you know, I don't know what it's going to take, but it's going to. One of these days he might, you know, he won those four pretty fast. All of a sudden he might break through, win a major. Then he's going to probably win two or three more pretty quickly. So we'll just see. You know, I'm rooting for him. As I say, I like him a lot.
You've always told me when we've talked about the things that you did, whether it was end of the year, beginning of the year, that Jack Grout didn't put his eyes on you on an every week basis, and when he did, it was very fundamental stuff. And again, every generation is different, but do you think players today are over-engineered?
Well, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's what everybody does today. But basically, Jack Grout, when I grew up, I saw Jack a lot. But when I was playing on the tour, I saw him 2 or 3 times a year. I'd go down, he was down at Lagos, he was down there, and I'd go down just for a refresher for maybe an hour. And we basically I really just went down because I wanted to talk to him. Then he, you know, he might at the end of the session say, oh, you need to work a little bit on your posture or your head position or ball position or, you know, some little thing. And we'd go hit a couple balls and we'd be fine. He'd send me off on my way. But what Jack Grout did was he taught me to be responsible for my own actions and my own golf game. And so when I got on a golf course and I had a problem, I could correct it. And I did need somebody there. I think the guys today, they need to take a little bit more responsibility for what their game is. They have the ability right now to blame it on their swing coach, their health coach, their sight coach. You know, guys, I never had any of that stuff, and that would have driven me crazy. However, that is what the deal is today, and that's what the guys do. But I still think that to be better, I think, and I may be wrong, but to me, I think Scottie Scheffler appears to take more responsibility for his own game than any of the other guys. And he's been very successful. So we'll see. I remember sitting down with Bobby Jones, and Jones said to me, he said, Jack, he said, I was a good player, and through my 7 lean years, but it was from 14 to 21. A strange time to have your lean years. But anyway, he said, he says, I didn't win anything. Then all of a sudden, he says, when I stopped coming home and running to Sterling Maiden, who was his teacher, he says, I started being able to fix myself. That's when I became a golfer. And Jack Grout started me that way from day one. So, you know, I think that there's nothing wrong with having people help you and having an entourage of some kind. But you still, when it gets down, they cannot hit any of those shots for you coming down the stretch or even getting to the stretch of any golf tournament.
Periodically over the last 10 years, I've shared this story. The last time for television, you, Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, and Lee Trevino sat down. It was at the Greenbrier in October of 2015, and I was conducting the interview. And during that interview, Lee said, that guy and that guy loved it more than I did and he did. Meaning, Player and Palmer, they loved it. They just couldn't get enough of it. Whereas you loved golf, but you had other interests. And Lee, he loved it. There was times that maybe he didn't love it as much. When did you love it most?
Well, I loved it all the time. I loved playing golf, but I had to have. I mean, Arnold's whole mode was to play golf. I mean, Gary Player's 89 years old, plays golf every day, and he still breaks par most every day. You know, somebody asked Gary, I mean, how many times have you shot your age? His answer is like the last 2,503 times or something like that he's played. I mean, Gary plays constantly, and he's terrific. And, you know, that's okay. But we're all different, and I was sort of built, and I needed to get away from it to be able to get my focus back on it. That didn't mean I loved it any less. I mean, I loved what I did. I loved the competition. And I know that Lee loved the competition. Lee Torino is what a great striker of the ball. What a great competitor. Gary Player the same. Arnold Palmer the same. They were all very good, and we all did it a little bit differently.
I'm going to share this again because for people who haven't heard it, it's one of the sweetest things I was ever a witness to. You gave me a ride home from that little event at the Greenbrier. On your plane, Arnold's plane was being serviced. You and Barbara were going to drop down in Atlanta and stay at Michael's for the weekend. And when you got off the plane, you pulled Arnold in close and whispered something in his ear, kissed him on the cheek. And you got off the plane, and the pilot had stepped out of the cockpit. And Arnold turned to him and said, "What is the flight time to Orlando?" And the pilot said 43 minutes. And Arnold turned to me and said, "My plane would do it in 39. I told you that story, Jack, after Arnold passed. And I knew it would tickle you because any little opportunity he could get to compete with you, he was going to take it.
We competed with everything. Arnold and I competed on the golf course. We competed off the golf course. We competed in everything we did. And, you ought to see us play bridge with our wives on the airplane going over to Great Britain for the British Open. We get on the airplane, we play bridge for, 6-7 hours. And we all wanted to play maybe for an hour and then take 5 or 6 hours of sleep. No. It was 6 hours of bridge. Somebody had to come out ahead.
All right, let me get you out of here with 5 quick questions. This may be the hardest one to answer. What is your favorite milkshake at Muirfield Village?
Well, I'm not the traditional. Buckeye milkshake is the most popular with the golfers. I'm a vanilla malt guy.
Very traditional. They're all great. They're all great. There's no wrong answer. All right.
I think last year, I'm not sure, but I think we were somewhere over 1,300 milkshakes for the golfers last year.
And by the way, that field is less than what it used to be. So that number.
I know. They just have to drink more.
All right. Who is the greatest athlete you saw perform in their physical prime?
Well, I thought about it a long time. I think Secretariat. The 25 lengths Secretariat won at Belmont. Then I don't have to pick an individual. I can pick somebody that isn't going to talk back.
That is a good answer. Jack, my dad was there that day. He was with my uncle, and they were down, and my father told me, and he saw everything. He said that was the most exhilarating thing he'd ever seen in sports when that horse got to the top of the stretch and he was separating himself literally by every length. That was the most amazing thing he'd ever seen. That's a great answer. All right, what is the longest car trip that you and Barbara and the kids, the 5 kids when they were kids, took in a car? Do you remember?
I honestly don't remember, but I'm sure that we drove from. We had to drive from Columbus to Florida, or Florida back to Columbus. I'm sure we did that several times, but that's probably the longest.
Okay. Did you have a wood-paneled station wagon?
No, wait a minute, Gary. That wouldn't be right. By the time Michael was born, we were 33, 34 years old. So we wouldn't have driven in a car that far. I don't think we, maybe to Miami.
Okay. All right.
Not very far.
The TV show now that you and Barbara watch together, do you have a show you guys watch together on a regular basis?
Oddly enough, at 7 o'clock every night, we watch Wheel of Fortune. My kids said, you got stuck on Wheel of Fortune? I said, look, Barbara likes it. Hey, I've got to like it if my wife likes it. And and so I watch it. And I enjoy the show. Pat Sajak did a great job. Ryan Seacrest is on it now doing it. He does a great job. It's a fun show to watch. And of course, we're always trying to figure out the words. And it's another bit of competition.
That's great. All right, last thing. Your favorite reaction to one of your own shots in your career, because the truth is, so many of the wonderful shots you struck, you always had a very understated, almost kind of laissez-faire reaction, including when you struck the flagstick at the U.S. Open in '72 with the 1-iron. You kind of, I don't even know if you know that you struck the flagstick or not from the naked eye.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
What's your favorite reaction to a shot you ever struck in your career?
Oh, I'm not sure, but it'd have to be one of the one irons, the one at Pebble Beach. But the one I hit at Augusta off of, I think it's 75. I didn't make the putt actually, but it was on one of those little knobs that I was sitting back at 242, and I took a one iron and I stuck it up in the air, put it in about 8 or 10 feet, and I'm sitting there all the way to the green. It was whoo! Boy, was that fun! and of course the one I hit at Baldwin in 67, and 238 yards uphill, a little bit in the wind, thunderstorms coming in, trying to get in before it's over with, and I didn't think I could carry the bunker in front of the green, and I carried the bunker, and then made the putt to break Hogan's U.S. Open record. But most all of them would have probably been one irons. I think that I could have others. There's a lot of. I remember I was not playing great at Oak Hill in 1980. I was leading the tournament by several shots going to the last round, but I had just hit the ball all over the golf course. But I'd made everything I looked at, and I hit a very good tee shot in the last round. It sort of slopped the ball on the front part of the green somewhere. I had about 35 feet and drained it. And I said, "Whoops, here we go again." And of course, then I ended up winning the tournament by about 7 shots.
By about, right on the number, 7. You mentioned 1980. You actually broke the record again when you went back there. That was the first time that I saw you in person. I was 14. I went to the first round with my dad, and he said, "Who do you want to follow?" I said, "Nicklaus." And he said, "Gary, you won't see anything." So we followed Lanny Watkins, Fuzzy Zeller, and Tom Weiskopf. And Tom shot 63, and of course, you had to miss a 3-footer, maybe 2.5 feet for 62 about a half an hour later.
That's right. I don't know. That was a big disappointment. I didn't think I'd even dream of missing that putt, and I did.
Well, there's one photo of you that we've got in this studio. I don't know if you can see this. You've been awfully good to me throughout my career. That was at Governor's Club just about 10 years ago. You came back for the 25th anniversary when you opened that golf course in September of 1990. Every moment that I've had to share thoughts, to get your opinions on things has been a total privilege. I hope you have a great birthday. Thank you for doing this.
Gary, my pleasure. It's always good to talk to you. And I got my Scarlet in for tonight. We're ready to go.
Good luck to you. Have a great birthday. Thank you, Jack.
Okay, Gary. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We will come back on 5 Clubs on Golf Channel 85 for Jack Nicklaus. We're back right after this. Back in on 5 Clubs on Golf Channel, 34 minutes past the hour. You can also listen to us on SiriusXM on the PGA Tour Radio Network. This segment brought to you by Golf Pride. They are the leader when it comes to grips around the world, and their reverse taper putter grips are the best grips that I have ever used. I've had them for over a year, and they are coming out with another grip that will truly change the marketplace. You know, a couple years ago when we decided that we wanted to do 5 Clubs, whatever it was going to be, we had a lunch with a guy who'd won 3 times on the PGA Tour and said, "What do you think about me?" He's like, I don't know. I think I can still play. That was Johnson Wagner. Well, he became a part of the team, and he brought along with him his good buddy from Virginia Tech, Brendon Young. So here they are, a couple years later, burgeoning media stars as they are. Why not a little steak for breakfast? Wagyu and Filet, they've got their own show now on SiriusXM. They've got so much media going on, they don't even know where to turn next. Good morning, gentlemen.
Gary, good to be here with you. Love the set. Love everything you're doing.
Well, listen, we couldn't do this. This wouldn't happen unless we had a great team, and you guys have been great teammates. We're excited to do all the stuff we're going to do, you guys, whether it's PGA Tour Live, SiriusXM. For you with golf, you're doing Golf Channel. Obviously, your role on Golf Channel is so significant. Your Monday night show on SiriusXM. We're going to do a lot of stuff. You're going to have your own show here, Wagyu and Filet. That is going to be on the YouTube channel as well. We got a lot to get to here. But I got to ask, as 2 guys who meet each other in college, you come from completely different parts of the world, You managed to make it on the PGA Tour. You both have wonderful careers, and then you both had to figure out what's next. And what next becomes media, and now here you are. What does that mean to both of you, Johnson?
Well, it's been pretty awesome. I mean, we played 15 years, 20 years of professional golf together, 15 out on the PGA Tour. And to be doing this together, be doing radio and Golf Channel stuff. We were in studio in Connecticut twice together last fall. And it's just great. I've always loved hanging out with Brendon. So it means a lot to be able to do it with him.
It's been fun. It's we, as Johnson says, we've known each other for a long time. We got off to kind of a rocky start. Johnson was my chauffeur in college. He used to drive me around, and
That's scary on so many levels.
Yeah, I know. Looking back, it probably wasn't my best decision. But one of the first times he gave me a ride, it was myself and my roommate. And we pull into somewhere, and Johnson pulls me to the side, and he's like, you know, we wear deodorant in the United States. And I looked at Johnson, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, yeah, we shower and we wear deodorant. I looked at him like, I shower more than you do. I wear deodorant. This isn't me. This is my roommate. But that was kind of our introduction to each other. So yeah, it was a rocky start, and it's progressed from there.
Yeah, this African kid, he smells terrible. We got to do something. And I think I was the one tasked with telling him. But yeah.
Here we sit. There's a lot that is going to happen every year in golf. Brendon, let me start with you. Two big storylines that could happen, will happen, might happen. Where would you start?
I'm going to keep it on the golf course, Gary. For me, to try and win an away Ryder Cup would be an absolutely massive story. And if Europe could do that, not only an away Ryder Cup, but a Ryder Cup in New York with what we know are going to be some of the most rowdy fans you've ever experienced, that would be a massive story for me. And then it's the Rory. Can Rory break this major drought? It's after 10 years now. I think 11 years since he's won one. This needs to be the year for Rory. The way the major's set up, this needs to be the year that he breaks that egg.
For you?
Well, this is not going to surprise you at all, but
Here we go.
Jordan Spieth coming off wrist surgery. I mean, the way he hasn't won since 22, had a couple chances in 23, and won one time early last year. Coming off wrist surgery, he really improved his driver last year, which had kind of been an Achilles heel, but hitting down into the ground with his wedge play and his iron play, it was abysmal. I think he's going to come back strong. I know he's been working down in Cabo with Cameron McCormick the last couple weeks, and I'm just looking forward to seeing him come back. I think it's going to be the AT&T Pebble Beach. And the game of golf, and especially the PGA Tour, is so much better with a guy like that in the fold. So I'm hopeful and thinking that he's going to come back and win multiple times and probably be right there at the Masters. I would assume. And my other one, you know, every year it seems like we have, not this year, but most years we have a major winner come out of nowhere and win. So I've kind of been thinking about who could that person be that could be an off-the-wall selection. And I think Akshay Bhatia is going to win his first major this year.
Look, the trend, and it's more than a trend, it's just become the norm. First-time major winners, just go back over the last decade plus, they pop up, and they're popping up every single year. The Spieth thing, before the advent of YouTube golf, I don't think people who are 25 now, who are 15 in 2015, understand how much traction that he had in the game of golf. He was the it guy. If he returns to a significant level of relevancy, it's a major asset return to the PGA Tour. We got a lot to get to with Brendon and Johnson. Steak for breakfast, Wagyu and filet. We continue right here on this Tuesday. 5 Clubs on Golf Channel, on the PGA Tour Radio Network, on Sirius XM. Back with you right after this. It is 43 past the hour. It's great to have steak for breakfast. Wagyu Filet, Johnson Wagner, Brendon DeYoung, a big part of what we do, and obviously they've got so much going on in their media careers. All right, guys, let's talk about something that a couple years ago when we started having this conversation, you were the first one who said, look, I'm unafraid to pick a live guy to win a major. You thought Koepka would. He did. Bryson DeChambeau wins the U.S. Open last year. How do we assess them now, Brendon, in terms of some of these guys are getting DP World Tour starts? Obviously, Tyrrell Hatton just won in Dubai. How about now in 2025?
Honestly, Gary, it sort of justifies their decision, or they will feel a lot more justified. The fact that they're now being able to play these DP World Tour events and play for world ranking points, that's what they wanted. That's gonna entail in them getting into more major championships, and that's what these guys wanted to do. They wanted to play a limited schedule plus the majors.
Yeah, but how on earth are they playing a more limited schedule now? They still have to play the 14 live events. They've got to go poach some DP World Tour events to play in just so they can get in majors. Not only are they playing more, if they're playing the same, if not more, but they're also traveling a way different schedule. Guys going down to Australia to play. It all just doesn't add up to me. They're not getting exactly what they wanted. They're having to work a heck of a lot harder.
That's fair. Look, Patrick Reed using his family as his impetus for leaving, saying I want to spend more time with his family. I think he's traveled more than Sergei Kirikov, who I think was traveled around space like 9 million miles. He's playing everywhere. You're right, their schedule is very, very challenging, but the bottom line is their performance in terms of having multiple years in which a LIV player has won a major and they're getting DP World starts. If they can manage their schedule with having the true commitment to play every LIV event, there's no reason to think that these guys will not contend and win golf tournaments when they coexist with guys from the PGA Tour, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. And you say that they're playing a ton more, but they're not. Their schedule's 14? They have to play 4 on the DP World Tour. That's 18 events. That I understand the travel. Sure, the travel is a lot more, but all of these guys were playing more than 18 on the PGA Tour every year.
You only think they're going to play 4 other events other than those plus the majors? I mean, if you're in the majors, you're going to play 22, like a Rahm, like a Bryson, those guys, and then like Gary said, a Patrick Reed and Joaquin Niemann went down to Australia.
Yes.
I hear your point, but I think the argument when a lot of them left was, we're going to get paid more, play less, and it's turned out that they're playing a ton of golf and traveling all over the world.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The travel is 10x from what it was. What we are seeing, though, is it's a lot of international guys that are doing this and a lot of international guys that don't really mind traveling.
And I will agree with you on the fact that they're playing well. I think we're going to have another LIV player win a major this year.
You do?
I do. I mean, the trend's going to continue. I think Rahm, after his year last year in the majors, wants to come back with a
You think he'll find his equilibrium and he will be right there in a major?
I mean, you've got Koepka, DeChambeau, Rahm, Hatton, and I'd say Niemann are guys that I would say could win a major.
Cam Smith still window open for him?
Sure.
Absolutely. The bridge for all these guys, whether it be American players or European-born players, the Ryder Cup appears to be healthy. I expect LIV players to be on both sides, right?
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, if Bryson does anything in the majors
this
year, he's going to qualify on his own. And I mean, Hatton's got to be pretty close there as well.
Hatton's top 10 in the world right now. He's in. He's in. John Rahm will be playing there. Yeah, we're going to see. I would imagine we're going to see probably 5 between the two teams. Would be my guess.
Yeah, I think that Bryson, the pressure on Keegan Bradley in the American system to not have him in there, if he flashes at all in any majors, and you can value a LIV win any way you want, I agree with you. He's going to be on the team.
Yeah, I mean, Bryson, 3 top 10s in the majors last year. I think he's done enough already where he's going to be on that Ryder Cup team.
It's a TV show. He's a star, and the pressure to put him on the team is going to be significant. All right, we continue here on this Tuesday on 5 Clubs on Golf Channel. Again, Brendon Young and Johnson Wagner with us. They will have their own show on our YouTube channel, which is going to be available tomorrow as well. Them chopping it up on a bunch of different topics. We're back with you right after this. It is 51 minutes past the hour of this segment of 5 Clubs on Golf Channel, brought to you by Peter Millar, where luxury meets performance. Anything you need, wherever you're going, they've got it. Johnson's been a proud ambassador for years, as have I. It's great to have you boys wearing the swag of Peter Millar. You know, it's interesting. We had Jack on earlier, and he's got a real relationship with Rory, and he talked about the psychological component that he's got to manage. You talked about him and the major rota this year. What about it? What about it starting with Augusta National?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an incredible run for him. I mean, Augusta, we all say that golf course fits him so well, but Quail Hollow, the PGA, where he's won 4 Truist Championships. It's going to be played in May, not like it was in August back in 17 when he didn't play particularly well. He's home at Portrush, and I mean, Oakmont seems to be a good fit for him too. And I think it was you that said it, and I've kind of stolen it, but if he doesn't win a major this year, is he ever going to win one?
He's so good, and look, I think that the great ones, time is on their side, but he's dealing with a psychological component that is so uncommon for a historic figure to go this long. The other thing about Oakmont is this: he did miss the cut in 16, okay, But since then in the U.S. Open, the next year he finished tied for 9th. He's gotten better in that championship every year, and he's coming off gutting, heart-wrenching losses in L.A. and then in Pinehurst in back-to-back years. Like he's adapted to the challenge, Brendon, of a U.S. Open. So why can't he go to Oakmont and be a legitimate factor? There's no reason why he can't be.
No, he can, Gary. I'm very interested to see what the recovery is going to be like after what happened at Pinehurst.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to believe that cut really, really deep. You said it, going to Quail Hollow, there's not a better opportunity for him to win one. It's been his own personal playground for a long time now. If he could go there and win, I think he's got 4 or 5 more in him. It's just going to be getting that next one that's going to be the hard thing for Rory.
Do you share that if he breaks through this vortex again, that it's not floodgates and all of a sudden he's at 10 in 3 years, but that there are multiples beyond it?
I completely agree with that. And just to the point of Quail Hollow, everything that club has done, which is known for tinkering a little bit with the golf course, there's a new tee added on 9 this year that wasn't there for the Truist Championship. So it's 535 yards. It's like everything Quail Hollow does is to allow Rory McIlroy to have a bigger advantage. And so I just think that is definitely the one for him. But is he going to go into it feeling more pressure like he goes into Augusta, like he went into Royal Portrush, because everybody thinks this is the one? He has not been able to. He's not been able to prove that he can win in that situation, at least in major championships.
No, it's an excellent point. That yes, it is Rory's Rhoda, but with that comes like this pressure, like, hey man, it's got to be this year. Wait a second, a new tee on 9, what is it, adjacent to the 11th green?
No, it's a much shorter walk from 8 to 9, 535 yards, and the former back tee has been destroyed, so if you get a northerly wind in May, which is possible, that hole may be unreachable.
Well, they try to do it to him on 16, and he keeps going, just keep going back, don't worry, I'll fly that bunker on the right. All right, we come back, some final thoughts on a Tuesday edition, right here at 5 Clubs on Golf Channel with the boys right after this. All right, we are back in studio here with the boys. Couple minutes left. Their show on our YouTube channel will be available tomorrow. You're headed up to studio. You'll be in studio with Cara Banks on pre and post for the Farmers Insurance Open. We talk a lot about professional golf. You've fallen back in love with playing golf. You've never fallen out of love with it. You love it so much. A place you want to play this year that you think you might, or you at least would desire to?
It's on the calendar. I'm a huge fan of C.B. McDonald, Seth Rayner stuff, and the Lido, which was built out in Sand Valley in Wisconsin. I've got a friend from Charlotte that's got a lake house out there and is a member at the Lido, so we're going in August, and I cannot wait to see it.
I've heard that it is really special. And to be really special, to be that new, that's a great one. How about you?
Place in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. A place called Fall Line. Jeff Ogilvy's built a couple courses out there. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about it. Hoping that I can make a trip there sometime this fall.
Yeah, Fall Line represented. We've got a football with the Fall Line logo right up there. Those are great. I've got a couple myself. I don't have them planned yet. I've never played Eastward Ho up near the Cape. I would like to go there. Prairie Dunes. Perry Maxwell, I haven't done that one. We all have places we want to play. Looking forward to this week. I know Farmers took a little hit. I think a lot of guys know that they're going to have the Genesis there, so maybe they're thinking I'm not going to play there twice. Don't know. Looking forward to your show. It'll be available tomorrow on the YouTube channel. It's good to have you boys back in studio.
It's good to be here. I would think Genesis is going someplace else.
You do?
I'm going to leave that be.
Okay, very good. Well, look at you. Maybe you'll be breaking some news on your show. Brendon and Young, Johnson Wagner. Reminder, Matt Adams' show, Fairways of Life, is going to be coming up next live. Matt is going to join me on the show tomorrow, as will Tom Coyne, who is the overlord of Golfer's Journal. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.